All right, so I'm out here on the water today. God has blessed us with this beautiful, mild, late summer day. We do have some wind, but it is awesome out here. And of course, we're out here to do the test casting of the new SLX XT A from Shimano. And we're going to be comparing it up against the old SLX XT. And basically, what I'm going to be focusing on is seeing if Silent Tune will give us some kind of a tangible feel or increase in performance. So before I do that, I'm going to have to first reacquaint myself with the old SLX XT because I think it's literally been years since I've casted this reel. So I'm going to cast this reel around, try to dial it in, and then we'll get to the new one. So let's get started. Okay, so I've been fooling around with the original SLX XT, dialing it in, and I think I got it dialed in perfectly for these conditions with the bait I'm using. Now, just an FYI, both reels are spooled up with 10-pound mono. They are both mounted on these Chinese AliExpress Obsession Mojo Bass imitation Poison Adrena rods. And the lure I'm going to be casting is going to be a Yozuri popper. I think it's 3/8 of an ounce at most, probably just a little bit under. And I got 2 brakes on inside with the XT, and the external dial is set to 3. And we are just on the very edge of performance versus blowing the spool up. Now we do have a strong wind coming in from my right to my left, as you can see on the water. It's causing a lot of chop. But I'm going to try to cast into these darker areas so you guys can see where the lure is landing. So I'm going to be casting somewhat into the wind. Here we go. Let me show you what the original XT can do, and then I'll convey my thoughts on this reel. Boom, easy 40-yard cast with the sidearm. The reel, I mean, it casts super smooth. The only thing I feel in here is just a slight hum and buzz of the centrifugal brakes, which is normal. Let's do an overhead. So yeah, that was probably almost an extra 10 foot doing an overhead cast. And if I cast it that way with the wind, I think close to a 50-yard cast with this little popper is possible. All right, you saw some fluffing of the spool, a couple of loops. Hopefully you guys saw that. I didn't stop the spool with my thumb because I have the spool tension set to just minimize the side-to-side play. I may have just a little bit of play. But yeah, the SLX XT, when it bust out on the scene, packing the SBS Infinity brakes, that spelt game over for DAIWA's TATULA, which was sitting at the same price point. Just like I predicted many years ago, that TATULA CT is no longer available, as this reel has effectively killed that reel off. Boom. So for any owners of the standard SLX, whether it be the original or the A, if you think that you have, I guess, reached the limit of performance on that reel and you want a little bit more, spending the extra $30 on these XT models is definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. In fact, I'm going to put a link in the comments section pinned at the top where I show you guys exactly what the SBS Infinity brakes can do for you versus just regular SBS. Now right here, I thought that was a jug line for a catfish, but it looks pretty official. It's got these numbers written on it, and it turns out they're all over this little cove or this little bay. If anyone knows what that's for, leave it in the comment section. Or is that somebody jugging for catfish, or they testing water quality, or It's the first time I've seen it there. All right, we'll do a few more. So yeah, the original XT. How old is this reel? Like at least 5 years old? Still dominant in 2024. I could potentially try to go to one break on inside, but this is not a distance test. This is a cast comparison. So hopefully you guys have taken note of the performance of the first gen XT. Because now we're about to switch up to the XT A. Okay, so now it's the XTA's turn, and let's set this reel up. Now, incidentally, the spool tension knob on my original XT was extremely easy to turn, almost too easy, but on my XTA, it does take some effort, which is good. All right, so I've just minimized the side-to-side play. Here's the fall. Very fast. Now remember, it came with 2 brakes on from Shimano. Let's double check. Yep, 1, 2. In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn all 4 on, and we're gonna go down 1 shoe at a time until we hit 2 shoes. Gonna turn the external dial to, holy crap. The external dial on my reel is super stiff. I think I lost some skin there. I'm going to turn it up to maximum position and start casting. Okay, so with all 4 brakes on, 6 on the external dial, we are pretty much locked down brake wise. And we are getting probably about, I don't know, 25 yards. If that. Perfect spool control, of course. Let's do an overhead. Okay, distance not much better. Because once again, the SVS Infinity is locked down. Okay, we'll do 2 more. 2 more. Whew. And keep in mind, there's a crosswind. I'm kind of casting into the crosswind a little bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast right into the wind. I'm going to cast into the wind. Let's see what happens. And the wind's just kicked up too. Here we go. Perfect. Here's a good wind right here. And we're still getting about a little over 20 yards on these casts. All right, we'll do 1 more into the wind. Thumb too slow, but perfect. So for those of you who are intimidated by Shimano's SPS Infinity with just how many adjustments can be made, don't be. Okay, now let's turn one brake arm off. So now we got 3 brakes on, external dial still on 6. Here we go. All right, distance didn't go up that much, maybe less than 5 foot, at least on that cast. There's a rainbow cast right there. Ooh, the wind's kicked up. All right, so not that much of a difference between 3 brakes on versus 4 brakes on. Probably 5 to 8 foot extra distance tops on the best casts. Let's try to cast into the wind. It is really kicked up. Here we go. Perfect. Directly into a strong headwind, probably at least 10 to 15 miles an hour. Now, am I noticing any kind of casting smoothness increase? No, I'm not. I still feel the hum and buzz of the SPS Infinity. It's not unpleasant, it's not intrusive. Lets you know that those brakes are working. But I don't feel any kind of difference in smoothness with the addition of the silent tune. So with that being said, let's go back inside and we will turn off one more brake. So now we have 2 brakes on inside, 6 on the external dial. Let's see if we get any kind of casting performance increase. Boom, we sure do. That was at least 35 yards. I think we picked up probably another 10 to 15 feet. So these casts are getting close to 40 yards in my estimation. Perfect spool control. So now let's cast in the wind. See what 2 brakes on can do. Kicked up just a little. Here we go. Boom. Spool, perfect. Distance, definitely better than 3 brakes on. All right, the wind's kicked up, I can feel it. Let's cast. So this winter, I plan on doing an SPS Infinity tutorial, and I'll probably use this reel as the example, just to show everyone who sets their reel up, not for max performance, but for not backlashing. You're really missing out on what this brake system can do. All right, one more. Boom. Okay, so I didn't plan on doing this. It's kind of a spur of the moment thing. Let's see if we can cast with only 1 brake on with monofilament. Now with braid, that's possible, but usually with monofilament, 1 brake on with SPS Infinity is almost impossible. Almost. Depends on the reel. Luckily the wind's died down. Here we go. You know what? I actually turned on a brake instead of turning off a brake. My mistake. All right, now we truly have 1 brake on, 6 on the dial. Here we go. Ooh, longest cast yet, but the spool blew up. So yeah, just like I remember using monofilament with 1 brake on, you're gonna have to thumb the spool all the way, which in my opinion defeats the purpose of brakes, and I doubt you'll get any kind of real distance increase. Now, if you are using like an 8-strand braid, something real smooth and slick, yeah, 1 brake on is quite easy. All right, so I'm gonna cast and I'm gonna feather the spool with my thumb the entire way. Yeah, no real distance increase. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to 2 brakes on, then we're gonna turn the dial down. So now it's on 6, let's go down to 4. Now with the old model, I was able to go to 3 on the external dial, and we're gonna try to work our way to that. Boom! And that was definitely at least 40 yards right there. Definitely farther than 1 brake on and having to thumb the spool. You can really hear the brakes working. Boom! Now I will say that for some reason on my reel the line lay is not perfect. On the old reel it was perfect, on this one it's kind of bunching up to the left a little bit. Okay, let's try to go down to 3 on the external dial. Definitely on the edge there. Saw a couple of loops there. Worked itself out. Boom. So, am I seeing a distance increase? Distance increase with the same brake setting versus the old model? To me, maybe a little, but the wind, I think, was not kicking up as strong while I'm casting this reel right now, and that definitely can make a difference. But I think the new reel is casting just a little bit farther in these conditions right now. Now, if it took them out onto the field, did a cast battle, who knows? Look at that. Pow! Boom. I feel like it'd probably go a little bit lower on the brakes. But, I mean, what reel under $150 is gonna stand up to this thing? Now, I haven't tested all of them, of course, but I don't think there are many reels under $150 that pack a braking system this advanced. Same braking system you get in the, $600 Antares in a $129 reel. I am pitching into the wind. I mean, DAIWA, once again, they've scrapped their TATULA CT that was trying to compete at the same price point for a couple years. Got blown out. Now the only reel that's close in price is the FUEGO CT, which started out at 99 bucks. Now it's $119, so $10 cheaper. That's not going to stand up to this XT A. Woo, look at the wind. We're gonna keep pitching right into it. I know LEWS has a ton of reels, pretty much at $5 or $10 increments, but they all have magnetic brakes around this price point. The MagTrax magnetic brakes. And that's not going to stand up to SBS Infinity. I have GARCIA, I think the REVO X with MagTrax as well. It's not going to stand up to this, especially since they've shrunk the spool down to 32 millimeters, same as this reel. Now there is one reel I've been eyeing for quite a few years now. And favorite fishing, if you're somehow watching this, send me an email. I would love to test out your Soleus, the $129 one with the those funky centrifugal brakes. I really want to test those out. If you're confident that it's gonna stand up to this SLX XT, I will show the world what it can do. So there we go, guys. The cast testing of the devastating, dominant new Shimano SLX XT A. If I was on an extreme budget and I couldn't spend more than, you know, $100 or so on the reel, I would definitely save up for a little bit more and buy this one. All right, guys, thanks a lot.